Are we on?
We're on. We're 33 seconds in.
Oh, hello.
Hello. My name's Bella.
I'm Jane.
And it's been a few weeks since we shot a video.
We've been distracted by what?
Life.
Life. Welcome to week 11.
Yep. 11, is it?
Yep.
We're just two everyday friends, no experts, and we like to talk about, current events and topics that are coming up in our version of reality, and also what we see happening in life and around us.
And boy, isn't there a lot at the moment, hey? What are we, 1 month? What are we, nearly up to about 5 weeks away from the US presidential election? It's going to be a bit of a squeeze coming into that. I think today is the day they're having Joe Biden and Trump are doing their first debate, which will be interesting.
And you might wonder why we're in Australia and we're discussing the American election, but make no mistake, what happens in America in this election will affect everyone, and it will affect, what's happening on the rest of the planet.
Oh yeah, there's, we're at a, the planet seems to have become smaller and smaller. We're all connected in ways that we weren't 10, 20, 30 years ago. And what happens in November has a bearing on the whole Earth, every single country in the world.
And all of humanity and all the beings on this planet.
Not only because of, for economic reasons, so we'll just talk very briefly about Jasara. So the economic future of the world, where everything becomes more fair, where debt is no longer a thing. It becomes the illegal entity that it was, and it becomes part of the past.
And with the Nasara Jasara, all debt will be wiped. All mortgage debt, all house debt, all credit cards. Can you just feel into that for a moment? No debt. Can you imagine living on a planet where there is no debt? I mean, I don't know about you, but and what's happening in your reality, but within my personal circle, I don't know these people personally, but within my personal circle, friends of friends, I know of 5 friends who have lost friends who have committed suicide through this, global pandemic or scandemic, I will say, based around the loss of income and their loss of ability to provide for their families, which I think is one of the biggest crimes against humanity, what has been done to us as a collective through this, coronavirus scam.
Yeah, a lot of men who feel they just can't take care of their families. The pressure's too much.
Yeah, a very good friend of mine just recently lost a good mate who had a 4-month-old baby and an 18-month-old son, and he left his wife, committed suicide, hung himself in the wardrobe because he was unable to provide for his family. And I mean, I don't know about you, but that touches my heart. That shouldn't be happening in any era, let alone this era of financial abundance.
No, and particularly at the moment, because it feels like everything's really, we're at the last push of this birth, of this birthing of a new.
We're crowning.
We are crowning, all right, and it's nothing like the Crown of England, and it's nothing like the old crowns.
No, if 2020 has not given you a new sight, if it has not begun offering you a new perspective on the lies that we have been told by our governments, by the dream spell that has been weaved by the mainstream media, by the brainwashing we've received from Hollywood movies, if you are not yet starting to wake up to this, then you better strap in for the roller coaster ride, because we are about to be catapulted into a new paradigm of consciousness, and there's going to be a breakdown of all these old systems, and this old paradigm will fall away.
The education system, the banking system, the social welfare system,
the healthcare system,
the government systems,
the pharmaceutical industry, everything is going to change and shift, between the decade of 2020 to 2030. We are on the very beginning and fringe of this, with the mass change occurring within the next 4 years, but in the next 10 years, this planet will not even look like the planet that we currently reside on.
There's a few big energy things that are happening. I don't know much about all of this, But I know, as we mentioned in a previous video, Bella and I are going to be at Uluru in December, and we found out that there's going to be an event where a magic box is opened, which contains supposedly crystals that were placed there, I don't know, thousands, hundreds, I don't know how many thousands of years ago by the Pleiadian race. And this box is due to be opened up on the 21st, the summer solstice of December this year.
At 9:04 p.m.
9:04
to be
PM.
exact.
Yep.
And this box and these crystals are going to activate the ley lines under the earth, which is going to create more light to enter the planet and offer a paradigm shift in consciousness.
And I was listening to Sasha Stone talking about in the next, I think it might be 2024, there's another big event, a big light energy event that's going to happen, and then another one in 2027, and then by 2030 this whole cycle will be complete. So that all this transformation that's going to take place will take place over the next decade. So it's not overnight, but this is a lot of change that has to take place. So it's a good thing that it's going to be gradual.
And I want to ask you, how many people do you know who their marriages are ending, their friendships are ending, they're leaving their jobs? There is so much death occurring on the planet right now to make way for this rebirth, to make way for you to step into what is your true soul's calling and what you came to the planet for.
And we wanted to talk about that a little bit today, that alchemical process where the lead from the past is being transformed into this beautiful golden sort of future. And you know, at some point in the future, it'll go back and it'll cycle around again, because we can't have dark without light, we can't have good without bad. We are entering into a golden age. Now people talk about 1,000 years of peace and prosperity, like bring it on. Doesn't mean things are going to be perfect, and it doesn't mean people won't suffer. But I think if we bring our consciousness into this transformation, into this alchemical process, it's going to make it a lot easier for us. You know, expanding our awareness, being open to these energetic shifts, being aware of them so that we can prepare for them. We can change our diet if we need to. We can change at the place where we live if we need to. We can go to the beach more. We can do whatever it is. We can paint more. We can, whatever it is that makes our hearts sing. It's time right now to follow your bliss, concentrate on your joy, and focus on this transformation from this old dark paradigm into this new light.
Yeah, absolutely. But that also means, you know, knowing what makes your heart sing. You can know what makes your heart sing, but are you actually doing it? Are you actually, you know, we're so disconnected from, you know, our earth and what makes our heart sing that we've sort of forgotten how to live in rhythm and in commune with our earth. So it's really about trusting yourself and your own intuition and making the choices that your soul is asking you to make, even if your head is saying, I couldn't possibly make that choice. That choice is too hard for me.
Yeah, and I think at the very least, and possibly the most important thing we can do, is to reconnect with the earth, reconnect with the soil, with the sand, with the water, with the wind, with all the seasons, so that, you know, we're sort of letting go a little bit of the material thing. So it's not so much, oh, I love to ride motorbikes, or I love to, you know, on mechanical. That's okay, great, because you're still getting the wind and all that. So if that's the element you're after and it means a high-speed vehicle, go for it, you know what I mean? But focus on the element of the wind, the element of movement. So the elements, so the feeling of the water and what water represents, and the feeling of the soil in between our toes, and how that the energy of the earth is going to come up into us. And the sun, I think there's going to be there's a lot of solar stuff sort of going to happen. And I think we've been told a lot of lies about the sun. I was watching a doco the other day, just a little doco, about how, you know, the sun worship from the past, and how in religions, every single religion on the planet, how they all worship the sun, but they call Christ is the Son of God, and, you know, the son of all these suns that come in, and in this 3D paradigm, they're represented by a human form. But in the old way, and ultimately, where it's a sun worship thing. And we've been told the sun is bad, stay out of the sun, cover up, slip, slop, slap. You know, don't look at the sun, all this stuff. I think that's another goddamn lie.
Yeah, we've been told so many lies. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I feel like I've been lied to my whole entire life. And, you know, our parents lied to us, but not on purpose. It was because they were lied to, and then their parents were lied to, and their parents were lied to. And, it, you know, this lie just gets passed down for generations upon generations. And, you know, thousands of years ago, our ancestors knew how to live in harmony with the earth. They knew how to honour the cycles and the seasons, and somewhere along the way, honouring the cycles and the seasons and living in commune with the earth became woo-woo witchcraft. And that was done by the church and by religion, brought forth this, you know, they called it paganism and witchcraft if you honoured the cycles and the seasons. And they hijacked all of the equinoxes and the Sabbats. They hijacked those holidays and they made them their own. So December 21st, around that time, is traditionally the summer solstice, or Letha, which was, you know, hijacked and kidnapped by the birth of Christ, and Christmas. And, you know, so forth can be said for every single equinox or Sabbath that happens throughout the year. These holidays were hijacked, and the pagan ritual, or the people who honoured the season and the cycle, were called witches, and their holiday was deemed as bad.
There's a lot of, I don't know too much about all this. I used to have a book, The Gnostic Tarot, and I used to do some volunteering at Lifeline, and my name that I chose, my name on the phones was Sophia, because she was the Gnostic queen of the universe. There's a lot of Gnosticism coming into play here. There's a lot of old systems of belief, like you say, the old pagan things, the old Gnostic stuff that's been taken by the church and transformed into something that is all about control. It's all about commerce.
And I want to touch again, even the calendar, the Gregorian calendar, which we were talking about, the calendar was made up by the church. There is actually 13 months in a year. There are 13 moons. The Gregorian calendar made it a 12 calendar cycle to, you know, detach us from being able to connect with the seasons. They shifted the seasons around and made it like a absolute calendar linear date, and that's not how the cycles and the seasons work. So can you see how we've been fooled? We've been set up to fail from the very beginning.
From the minute we wake up in the morning to our alarm, generally, well, mine's on my phone, so that's next to my bed. I've already got all that, you know, all this energy around, that's the Wi-Fi energy, all this sort of stuff, that's already unnatural, but we're waking up unnaturally through an alarm. We've lost track of the timelessness, the element of I'll see you on the mountain when the sun is at this height. You know what I mean? We're sort of like, I'll see you at 2 o'clock. Let's lock that in.
I mean, the invention of electricity. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but electricity has removed us from this natural rhythm because we're staying up later, because we've got artificial light. We can stay up on the computer, on the phone. We can watch TV. So we're not going to bed with the sun, like we used to rise with the sun and go to bed with the sun, which was in natural circadian rhythm with the earth. This is the planet we live in now, so it's about how do we get back into rhythm with the earth while still living in our modern world.
Yeah, and again, that comes back to touching the earth, feeling the earth, playing with the earth, and appreciating the wind, appreciating the rain, appreciating all the beauty of nature. For me, that's where it starts. It has to start there, and with the breath. So with the breath, and with the earth, and with the skies and the stars and all that. That's how we start, for me. And it seems like we're going back into there's a lot of connection, particularly we're in Australia, and we've got the Uluru thing coming up, so we're very we're in that energy anyway. But there's a lot of original people, the original people of this land. There's a lot of energy shifting back up. It's there's some really strong and powerful original voices coming to the fore at the moment, and they're demanding their rights back. They're demanding that we go back to a natural law, to a constitution, to a natural law, where so long as you're doing no harm to others and you're not taking advantage of anyone else, that's all. That's that simple. We will There's a guy, Michael Tellinger, who talks about Ubuntu, which is a small community, so that communities police themselves. You don't need all these outside influences. People work within the community to take care of, and when someone fucks up, the community takes care of it. You don't have to call in the cops. There's no jails. There's none of this. Like back in the old days, you bash them with a stick or whatever you do, and on you go. There's going to be people who fuck up. I might even get a bit of a whack every now and again.
There might be. And coming back into commune with the land, I just want to touch on, has anyone got any children? Has anyone got a baby? I have a 10-month-old son, and if ever I needed an opportunity to view the eyes of excitement through a child, my goodness, like I take him down the beach and he's like, with the sand, and with the grass and with the leaves, and he is so awestruck by nature. It is like, I'm like, oh my God, look what happened to me. I lost that, and he has it, and he's 10 months old, and he's teaching me, like, this is what's important, the land, the earth.
You didn't lose it altogether, my friend, because I see joy every time her foot steps on the sand,
Of course, but like my son is showing me, a baby and they're
the awestruck,
awestruck for nature and trees, and he touches everything. He's so tactile with, every element of nature. He sticks his tongue out for the wind, like.
Well, if anyone can, there's not everything in nature's good, right? Talk about bindies, right? If anyone can tell me, I'm having this dilemma at the moment. If anyone can tell me what bindies are good for, please let me know, because I don't see any value.
And if
in
you're
those.
not in Australia, a bindi is a prickle that's in the lawn. Your lawn at summertime, this beautiful lush lawn you have, all of a sudden in summer gets prickles in it.
I reckon they're worldwide. I reckon everyone suffers from bindies.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're called bindies.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
Prickles.
All right, prickles.
Because that could be an Australian slang.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Bindi, sounds Australian, doesn't it?
Sounds Australian, yeah. So we want to touch on the alchemical process, and that you are being affected by this change, these solar flares, this energetic paradigm shift happening on the planet, whether you're aware of it or not. So we want to talk about bringing consciousness to this shift. So beginning to focus your awareness on, okay, why am I maybe feeling this? What am I letting go of? And what am I calling forth?
A lot of people, why have I got a headache? Why am I feeling dizzy? Why am I getting ringing in the ears? Why can't I just can't drag myself out of bed? I'm not doing it. There's a lot of this energy stuff going on, isn't it, Bella?
Well, this is the transformational energy of shifting from third dimensional consciousness into fifth dimensional consciousness. And just to touch on that lightly, we have in the previous videos, it's a frequency, it's a vibration. So third dimensional consciousness vibrates slower than fifth dimensional consciousness. So anything that's living in our body and our energy and our cells that's vibrating at a third dimensional frequency is being transmuted and released as our body starts to increase, as the vibration of our body and the planet increases. Anything that's of a third dimensional frequency is releasing from our energy field, and sometimes that comes in physical symptoms like, why do I feel so dizzy? Why have I got a headache? Why are my ears ringing? This is perfect examples of your consciousness shifting up a notch.
And I sort of, when we talk about the alchemy sort of thing, I was just saying to Bella before, for me it's like we have this eternal wave, so that we have infinity, which is the scalar wave, which is the Tesla wave. This is the future of our energy, so it's an eternal wave. It's not ending like electricity that we have now. It's it's going to go on and on. And within our body system, we have the wave as well. So our energy centers in the body. And for me, with the alchemical thing, it's sort of like it's all sort of focused right now around the heart, the solar plexus, and the gut. So it's all sort of in this area. So when I lie down at night, I put my hands on here and I just breathe into this area, because it feels tight, like as a humanity and as a planetary beings at the moment, we're passing through the tight patch sort of thing. So for me, it's all here. So I'll place my hands, I'll focus breath, breathe into here, and just release, and very, very gently, no pressure. There's enough pressure. This is about softening and allowing, being aware that things are changing, and just tending to go with the flow. Go with the flow. We're moving into a different flow. You know.
And what does flow feel like? Like, I just want to give you an example. I was working on a business platform with a former business partner for more than 2 years, and it felt like I was pushing uphill the whole time. Like, I cannot explain how hard this business partnership was from day one. That business partnership finally ended a couple of months ago, and I decided to go on this business on my own. And I have catapulted and leapfrogged into this new quantum parallel dimension where everything's just moving at a completely rapid rate, and the flow feels so open and so expansive and so phenomenally true and real that I realize, oh my God, that's what flow doesn't feel like, what at the partnership I had before. That's what pushing uphill feels like. When it's right, it's right. There is no push, there is no resistance. It just effortlessly flows, and that's when you know you're moving in the right direction.
So she's had a wake-up breakup, right? That's one of her wake-up breakups.
Yes.
We're all having wake-up breakups at the moment. So my original wake-up breakup was, I had to break up with the television, right? I just stopped watching. I mean, I physically couldn't watch it. It made me feel sick. I've broken up with the news. I've broken up with just crap that's on television that really is just so... just crap. It's a waste of time watching it.
You've also broken up with living in Mollendina.
I've broken up with where I'm living right now, and I'm moving back to the beach, and that's been an effortless thing. I thought the right thing will come, and I haven't even had to think about it really, and the right house has come along, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. But we're all having sort of wake up breakup, so we're waking up to a new way of being, to a new way of thinking, which means we have to let some of the past go. Not all of it. Whatever's right for us, though, we have to let go.
And I want to touch on that again. I'm going to bring it back to this business that I had. This business that I've been working on with this girl for more than 2 years. We were so far along in the 3D paradigm that it was so hard for me to let go of that. It was so hard for me to let go of this business I've been working on because it was so close. And then I had something very interesting happen to me, that my sight was affected very deeply. And I was willing to go, okay, what in my life am I not willing to see? What have I been not willing to allow myself to go there? And all of a sudden I thought, wow, this business partnership feels so heavy and so wrong. I just have to let it go. I have to let go of the 2 years that I've worked with this person, because if I think about what is being in business with this person feel like, it feels bloody horrible. It feels horrible. Just, we weren't in alignment, right? So I let it go, and less than 2 weeks later, this whole new path opened up for me. But it took for me to be willing to let that go before I made the quantum leap into the parallel universe, the parallel dimension that was waiting for me to leap into it.
I've got a tickle in my throat and I'm trying not to cough. Oh, excuse me. Talk about wake up, break up, right? What's stuck in my throat? I've tended to look in the past for metaphysical reasons for something. There's something I'm not saying, and I know what it is. I'm not going to say it, but there's something I'm not saying. Something got stuck in my throat. I'm even crying now. When you feel something in your body, ask what the metaphysical, if you're having a sore knee, let's just say you've got a sore knee, I'm having trouble getting up. Instead of saying, I heard it the other day climbing up on the roof or whatever, it's sort of go to the metaphysical reason. You might have trouble sort of moving forward in life. So there are different aspects of physicalness that represent metaphysical. So for me, having this little tickle in my throat, there's something I'm not saying, right? What about you with sort of physical stuff like that? Is there?
Well, obviously I had the thing with my eyes, which
Yep.
was huge. While I was birthing my baby, I was temporarily blinded. The hospital told me that I was having a stroke. I 100% believe with every cell of my being I was having a 5th dimensional sight upgrade. You try and tell that to a hospital who are telling you that you're having a stroke, you'll probably end up in a psychiatric ward. So for me, it was like, what was I not willing to see in my life? That was a big one for me. In the past, I had a neck injury that lasted for more than 4 years. So it was really being able to be willing to say, okay, well, what is my body trying to tell me? And so often I have observed people say this sentence, and if you're someone that says what I'm about to say, this kind of thing, it's not a criticism and it's not a judgment, but it's just an invitation into perhaps looking at something a different way. So the amount of times I've heard people say something along the lines of, I can't do that, I've got a bad neck. Or I can't do that, I've got a bad back. I can't do that, I've got a bad knee. My invitation to you is, what did that body part do to you to deserve such a label? I've got a bad back, I can't do that. You know what? Your back is speaking to you. It is telling you something in your life is not in alignment.
You might not be flexible enough. You might have to get a bit more flexible.
You're rigid. What are you not looking at? What are you not willing to see? What are you rigid in? It with your knee. Okay, what's going on? Your body is speaking to you. And have you ever said, hey body, what's going on? Have you got something to share with me?
Louise Hay was always in her little blue book with the metaphysical. That's a good place to start.
It's a good place to start, but that's Louise Hay's version
That's
of
right,
that,
that's right.
that body part saying, why don't you ask your body?
Yep.
Okay, Nick, what are you sharing with me? And what I know now, 10 years later, is that was the very beginning of my Kundalini awakening, the awakening that I was going through, and all of this energy was stuck in my neck, and it was like I was rigid and inflexible. So my body's been speaking to me for many, many years.
Yeah. If you're all new to this, Louise Hay's a good place to
She's
start.
a great place to start.
But then from there, we learn to speak to our body directly, or to ask our body directly, inquire as to, I could ask I already know what this is about, but, if I'm feeling stiff or my neck's sore, there's more to see. I've got to become more flexible so that I can see more, because there's more to see. Things like that. Lots of different.
And also, injuries that come into our life, car accidents, things like that. There's always a lesson and a gift that's being offered to you in that moment through any experience you are having in your life. There's absolutely an invitation to further awakening.
And when we talk about the alchemical process as well, it's not just turning lead into gold. It's turning a negative thought into a positive thought. It's turning a dreadful situation into a new way of being. It's the old to the new. So it can apply. I remember I went through a big alchemical process about 16 years ago, where everything broke down. My whole psychologically, I broke down. And I realised afterwards that it was an alchemical process. That's where I actually started to look at alchemy and understand that it's not just about a physical lead to gold manifestation or transformation, but it's a psychological, it's a spiritual.
And what this might come back to, you may have heard the term dark night of the soul. And this is what a dark night of the soul is. It's basically a breakdown of an old reality and an old paradigm, and it's this alchemical transformation. And what's interesting now about this collective consciousness, this paradigm shift that's happening on the planet, the entire planet and the collective consciousness of humanity is going through a dark night of the soul. Like, whoa.
It's really exciting,
I mean, to be on the planet at this time and to be part of this collective consciousness expanding and awakening, it's
Yeah, it's goosebumpy stuff, right?
It's absolutely mind-blowing. And why is this happening now? Okay, so I'm going to give you a very brief rundown astrologically. So the planet, this planet that we live in, goes through different ages, okay? So the planet moves in a cycle of 26,000 years. A 26,000 year cycle is called a precessional age. Each precessional age goes through the signs of the zodiac. So it's the 26,000 years, there's 2,000 years in each sign of the zodiac, okay? So we've just moved out of the Piscean age for 2,000 years, and we are now moving into the age of Aquarius for 2,000 years.
This is the dawning of the age of
And the Piscean age was about control and manipulation and the form of the patriarchy. And now as we move into the Aquarian age, this is why now on the planet we are going through this massive expansion and this massive consciousness upgrade.
So if you're feeling like shit, And if you're feeling like you're stuck, ask why. Ask yourself, sit quietly with yourself and ask why. And ask for illumination, ask for inspiration, ask for anything that might help you to figure it out for yourself. So, yeah, if there's a book that you're drawn to, pick it up. If there's a deck of cards that you're drawn to, pick them up. If there's a friend, I want to call Susie, call Susie.
If there's a therapist or a healer who you are called to reach out to, it's an invitation to trust your own self, and your own self will direct you what book to read, what program to watch, what you need to do for yourself.
Above everything else, it's a time of trusting, to learn to trust ourselves, to go within, to focus here, and to understand that there's a transformation taking place. That's why everything's crazy at the moment.
And if something doesn't resonate for you, it's not for you.
Get rid of it.
It's not for you. And, to trust yourself above me, above Jane, above your doctor, above your government,
Above the media.
above anyone. Trust your own counsel and go, is this true and is this real and is this correct for me? Because what's true and real for you isn't going to be true and real for the next person.
And it might not be true and real forever either. We've talked about that before. In a year's time, something else might be true and real, and it probably will. And that's what evolution is all about. We're expanding. We're in an ever-expanding universe. You can't stop this. We need to expand with it. Otherwise, see you later.
And I want to ask you, do you want to expand with this massive consciousness upgrade that's going on the planet? Do you want to be a part of that? Do you want to be a part of the humanity that stopped child sex trafficking?
Yes.
Do you want to be part of a humanity that was part of a total global reset of economy?
Yes.
Do you want to be part of a humanity where we have free energy?
Yes.
Do you want to be part of a humanity where we have no debt?
Yes.
What else?
No illness.
No illness. Do you want to be part of a humanity where there's no cancer, no Alzheimer's, no diseases?
Imagine, just for a sec, because I heard some women talking about this the other day. They both had breast cancer, and they both, neither of them went the Western way. Both of them transmuted this cancer into health. They got rid of their tumours. They homeopathically, all this. They loved their cancer. We've been told cancer's the enemy. All cancer is a trick to say, time to change, time to wake up. There are different ways of looking at things. I've never had cancer, so I can't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do. But the possibility of cancer as a gift, it's a possibility. A lot of people who have been through the cancer process have said it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Looking back on it, maybe not at the first diagnosis, it's got to be scary, right? Because we've been told this is scary. This is scary, you've got to be scared. Here, we're going to lock you into the system. Well, there are other ways. Be open to other ways and to these things coming along. Not as debilitating sickness, but it is gifts to opening.
And speaking of gifts, and a little bit different to cancer, but how many people have you heard say with the COVID lockdown and the COVID scamdemic, what they really tried to do was control us, but what they really did was created a catalyst for a massive awakening? Because I've heard so many people say it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I realised I hated my 9-to-5 job. I wanted more time for myself, more freedom, more flexibility with my family. So I decided to change.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
How epic's that?
Epic. The most important thing is in this alchemical process, is to trust yourself. Go within, trust yourself, and you be your own guide. Take what lessons you need from wherever, and you trust yourself above all others.
That feels good.
It does feel good, doesn't it?
Doesn't that feel good? Trusting yourself above all others?
I know. Who knew we could do that? Who knew we had that within us?
Well, I did. I think even as a child I knew that, but it was like brainwashed out of me.
That's right, we've been programmed to believe that no, somebody else knows better. The doctor knows better, the banker knows better, the media knows better, the school teachers know better. Everyone knows better. No, they bloody well don't. You know better. You know what's best for you. And if we can see this time as a gift, then, and consciously work through it, it's going to be even better on the other side.
We promise you.
Yeah. Yeah. But you learn to promise yourself, and that's even better.
Yeah, don't take our word for it if it
No.
doesn't resonate. But, you know,
Yeah.
I believe in every, is it 50 or 100? How many trillion cells in our body?
70 trillion.
I believe with every cell of my body that we are moving into, sing that song again.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius. Sorry, I can't sing. but
And
that's-
it's glorious.
it's glorious.
So hit subscribe,
We love you.
hit like.
Hit like.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, you're a legend.
You're a bloody legend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
See you
bye.
next time.